Greetings and welcome to this video on anaerobic coverage. So in this video we'll discuss about antibiotics that covers the anaerobes. This is Medicine Beyond Harrison's. If you're new to this channel, do subscribe. Let's get started. So this is an important slide that what are the common sites of infection of anaerobic organisms are intra-abdominal infections, aspiration pneumonia from the oropharyngeal anaerobes, then diabetic foot infections, brain abscess, and pelvic and odontogenic infections. So overuse of these anaerobic coverage leads to toxicity, resistance, and Clostridium difficile infection. So always target the right drug for the right site with no redundancy. Now we'll get into the drugs. So clinically important anaerobes are gram-negative, which are Bacteroides fragilis, which is the most important anaerobe, and Prevotella and Fusobacterium. Whereas gram-positive anaerobes are Clostridioides difficile, Clostridium, and Peptostreptococcus. So Bacteroides fragilis is the most resistant and most clinically relevant pathogen to consider in case of coverage for anaerobes. So antibiotics, these are the antibiotics with anaerobic coverage, and most important to remember that no coverage is with cephalosporins, fluoroquinolones except for moxifloxacin and aminoglycosides. So these three groups of drugs do not have any coverage against anaerobes. So whereas strong coverage is there with metronidazole, carbapenems, meropenem, imipenem, metapinum, Brazilian and ampicillin sulbactam. All these group of drugs have excellent coverage against anaerobes, and whereas clindamycin and moxifloxacin has moderate to variable coverage against anaerobes. So metronidazole, so coming to a gold standard anaerobic coverage drug. So it is excellent against Bacteroides fragilis, Clostridioides, Fusobacterium, and it covers only and only anaerobes, not aerobes. So it is best targeted anti-anaerobic agent, excellent CNS and abscess penetration, lowers lower risk of Clostridium difficile infection when compared to clindamycin. The main limitation with metronidazole is that there is no aerobic coverage, always needs a partner, and neurotoxicity with prolonged use is there. So these are the main limitations of metronidazole. So one drug that you need to remember after watching this video is metronidazole. Metronidazole has excellent coverage against anaerobes and predominantly a only anaerobe drug. So clindamycin it also covers gram-positive with variable Bacteroides fragilis coverage. Resistance is nowadays increasing. The main strength of this drug is the toxin suppression with for necrotizing infections and it has an oral option also. Major problem is that it has having high risk of Clostridium difficile infection, unreliable against Bacteroides fragilis group. So current rule it is limited and only for niche use. Beta-lactam and beta-lactam inhibitor combinations, BL-BLI combinations, mainly piperazine tazobactam and ampicillin sulbactam, both has good coverage against anaerobes. So ampicillin sulbactam is useful in bites, ENT infections, and mild diabetic foot infections. Whereas piperazine tazobactam is excellent anaerobe plus aerobe coverage also. It is predominantly used in the ICU setup or the wards. So it's an ICU workhorse. So do not add metronidazole or anaerobic coverage is already present with piperazine tazobactam. But when you use ceftriaxone, then you may need to have anaerobic coverage with metronidazole. So carbapenems, there is a near complete anaerobe coverage with carbapenems. So covers Bacteroides fragilis, Clostridium, oral anaerobes. It is a single agent therapy for severe polymicrobial infection, covers gram-negative and few gram-positive as well as anaerobes. So only the issue is with carbapenem is that for stewardship concern, it overkills for routine anaerobic infection. So always use it for reserve drug for ESBL and severe sepsis. Cephalosporins, it has a very poor anaerobic coverage. This is the main truth. So exceptions are cefoxitin and cefoxitan, which has very limited use today, but it has a very mild anaerobic coverage only. So major drug that from cephalosporin group to be used are ceftriaxone and cefepime, which has no reliable anaerobic activity. So when for using a logical combo is either ceftriaxone with metronidazole or cefepime with metronidazole. So fluoroquinolones has, except for moxifloxacin, others do not have any anaerobic coverage. For moxifloxacin, it is the only fluoroquinolone with anaerobic coverage, covers Bacteroides fragilis, and it is inconsistent. Resistance are increasing. So use moxifloxacin cautiously. So it is not to be used as a sole anaerobic agent in severe disease, whereas Cipro and levofloxacin do not have any anaerobic coverage. So common clinical combinations that are used in clinical practice for intra-abdominal infections, it is Brazilian tazobactam or cefepime with metronidazole or ceftriaxone with metronidazole. For aspiration pneumonia, we can directly go for ampicillin sulbactam, which covers the aspiration anaerobic organisms in the aspiration. For brain abscess, metronidazole is preferred with ceftriaxone combination. For diabetic foot infection, ampicillin sulbactam can be used, or Brazil tazobactam can be used. It covers anaerobes also. So severe polymicrobial sepsis, go for carbapenems directly. So these things to be avoided. Do not add metronidazole with Brazil tazobactam because it already covers anaerobes. Do not add metronidazole with ampicillin sulbactam for the same reason, and do not add metronidazole to carbapenem. So adding metronidazole only adds to the risk of Clostridium difficile infection, increases toxicity with no additional benefits. By side, for brain abscess, metronidazole is always essential. Colon and abdomen, metronidazole or BLBLIs. For lung and aspiration, BLBLIs is more than enough. For skin and soft tissue, not needed unless the patient is ischemic. So resistance stewardship, clindamycin, there is high resistance to Bacteroides fragilis, and moxifloxacin, there is high resistance to Bacteroides fragilis. So these are only nowadays considered mild to moderate effective against anaerobes. Stable susceptibility is with metronidazole. Resistance remains very rare. So avoid just in case anaerobic coverage. So always don't add on the anaerobic coverage if you don't actually suspect an anaerobic infection. Just only if you suspect an anaerobic infection and in appropriate clinical scenario, go for an anaerobic coverage. So summary, metronidazole has a very good anaerobic strength with you can give it almost 5 stars with a very low risk of Clostridium difficile. It has no aerobic coverage, that is the main limitation. So for clindamycin, it is comparatively a lesser strength anaerobic agent with a very high risk of Clostridium difficile, hence not preferred. Ampicillin sulbactam can be used with a moderate risk of Clostridium difficile infection, and it has resistance in gram-negative organisms. So Pip-Tazo, don't overuse it. It has moderate risk of Clostridium difficile infection with good coverage for anaerobes. Carbapenem also has good coverage. Only issue is the stewardship. Moxifloxacin, avoid in QT prolongation and resistance. It can be like you can give 2 to 3 stars for moxifloxacin with high risk of Clostridium difficile infection again. So major final take-home messages that you need to take after watching this video is that metronidazole is the best targeted anaerobic drug. BLBLs often make metronidazole unnecessary. So clindamycin should be avoided routinely. So don't go for clindamycin unless you need an additional gram-positive coverage. So anaerobic coverage should be site-driven and not reflexive. Stewardship matters more than the spectrum of activity. So hope you liked this video. If you have watched till the end, do like and subscribe and share it with your friends. This is Medicine Beyond Harrison's. Let's meet in yet another video on this antibiotic series.